This video just screams NBA offseason content. And we're gonna go through every age in the NBA from 19 to 39 and give out the best player for each age currently. It's actually crazy that there's still two good players at the age of 39 in this league who are over double the age of the first player we're gonna talk about at the age of 19. And if you guys do enjoy this content, I would appreciate it if you drop a thumbs up. Let's get into this. So actually there's one player in the NBA that is 18 and it's Ulrich Chomsky out of the NBA Africa Academy, who was the 57th overall pick by the Toronto Raptors, and he actually doesn't turn 19 till December 30th. So for the best 19-year-old, I almost went with Stephon Castle because I think he's one of the more NBA-ready guys from this most recent class. But GG Jackson, a second-round pick last year for the Memphis Grizzlies, is still 19, and he won't turn 20 till December 17th. He was one of the younger players ever drafted last year and had a really productive rookie season for Memphis where he averaged 14.5 points across 48 games, averaged 4 rebounds, and shot 43% from the field and 36% from three, and was on all-rookie second team, and he wasn't even supposed to play it all in his rookie season, and is by far the best 19-year-old currently. We're gonna go up a talent level here to the best 20-year-old, and that is gonna be Victor Wembanyama, who was the #1 overall pick in the 2023 draft. Yeah, it's crazy what Wemby has accomplished just as a 20-year-old. He was the 2024 Rookie of the Year, obviously on all-rookie first team. He finished runner-up in Defensive Player of the Year voting. He was the 2024 block champion as well, and he was on all defensive first team. He averaged 21.5 points, 3.5 blocks, 10.5 rebounds, and 4 assists a night for the San Antonio Spurs, and was arguably the best player on the France Olympics team this summer. Very likely that every year Wemby gets older, he's always going to be the best player at that age. Coming in as the best 21-year-old, I feel like isn't talked about enough as he should be. He was the #1 overall pick in the 2022 draft. It's Paolo Banchero. Paolo Banchero, still 21 years old, is coming off a year where he averaged 22.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 5.5 assists for the Orlando Magic. He was an all-star in year number 2. He was on Team USA's FIBA World Cup team last summer, and he helped lead the Orlando Magic to their first playoff appearance since the 2020 season, where he took the Cleveland Cavaliers to a Game 7 in round number 1. And there's a solid chance that Paolo could be an all-NBA player in year number 3 with City Thunder, but I still have to go with LaMelo Ball, who was the 3rd overall pick back in the 2020 NBA draft. LaMelo's coming off another injury-riddled season, but if he could ever put together a fully healthy year, LaMelo could be one of the best players in the NBA. In a small sample size last year in 22 games, LaMelo put up 24 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds a night, and shot 36% from 3 on 9 attempts. And he got off to a rough start too, but he was fantastic before he went down with a season-ending ankle injury. There's never been a question about LaMelo's talent. It's always been there. It's just, can he be consistent with his availability on the floor? Because if so, he's one of the best young players in the NBA and is the best 22-year-old currently, in my opinion. Easy choice here for the best 23-year-old, and that is going to be Anthony Edwards, who was a breakout star last year in his 4th year in the NBA. Ant finished runner-up to LaMelo Ball in that Rookie of the Year voting from the 2020 draft class, but in his 4-year career, he's a 2-time All-Star. He was on All-NBA second team this past year. He finished 7th in MVP voting, averaging 26 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 5 assists a night for the 3-seeded Minnesota Timberwolves, and showed out in the playoffs, especially in round number 1 against the Phoenix Suns, where he averaged 31 points in their sweep, and then he ended up averaging 28 points, beating the reigning champions, the Denver Nuggets, in round 2, and was just on the 2024 Olympics team that just won a gold medal as a 23-year-old. Another player that was on Team USA this summer that is going to be the best 24-year-old is Tyrese Halliburton. That is 3 straight players from the 2020 draft that we are talking about, with Ant going number 1, LaMelo going number 3, and Tyrese Halliburton, who went 12. Halliburton's a little bit older since he spent 2 years at Iowa State in college, and Halliburton is coming off a year where he averaged 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 11 assists. He was an all-star starter this year as well, making his 2nd all-star appearance, was on All-NBA 3rd team, led the NBA in assists, and also led the Indiana Pacers to a conference finals appearance. And if Halliburton is fully healthy this year, is going to be one of the better point guards in the NBA. Luka Doncic may have as good of a resume as you can get for a 25-year-old. Luka was the 3rd overall pick in 2018, and he's made all NBA first team each of the last 5 seasons. That's 5 All-Star appearances as well, and 5 top 10 MVP finishes. He was the Rookie of the Year from that class, and he just was the NBA scoring leader, averaging 33.9 points per game in year number 6. And it is crazy that Luka would most likely be a Hall of Famer today if he retired as a 25-year-old. Man, for the 26-year-old, it's tough because you could go with Jason Tatum, who just won an NBA Finals with the Boston Celtics, was just on Team USA this summer as well, but I'm actually not going to go with him. I'm going to go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was the 11th overall pick in the 2018 draft, 1 year player after Tatum. And yes, currently today, I do think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a better player than Jason Tatum. Shai just finished second in MVP voting. He was on all NBA first team like Tatum. He was an all-star. He also finished 7th in defensive player of the year voting. So if you're going to get someone that's borderline a top 10 defender at the guard position, as well as someone that finished second in MVP voting, how could I not go with him? He averaged 30 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 6 assists for the 1 seed in the Western Conference, which was much better than the Eastern Conference this season. Let me know in the comments, who do you think's the better 26-year-old, Tatum or Shai? But it kind of gets tougher for the best 27-year-old. You could go with Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, or Jaylen Brown, and I gotta go with the player that just won Finals MVP. Throughout their careers, yeah, maybe Devin Booker's been better or Donovan Mitchell, but currently I think Jaylen Brown is the best of the three. How can you not say him? Jaylen Brown is coming off a year where he averaged 23 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. He was an all-star for the Boston Celtics as a number 2 option, and yeah, won Finals MVP. He also won Eastern Conference Finals MVP, is a much better defender than Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell as well. And shout out especially in that conference finals against the Indiana Pacers in that sweep where he averaged 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists on 52% shooting. So yeah, the best 27-year-old is also another tough debate between Brown, Donovan Mitchell, and Devin Booker. Let me know who you would go with in the comments. It gets easier for the best 28-year-old because he doesn't have a lot of competition, which is kind of interesting. And that is going to be Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah, we've talked about some top 10 players in the NBA, and now we're going to Cat, who's still a good player. Cat is coming off a year where he appeared in 62 games, averaged 22 points and 8 rebounds for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and was an elite shooter, 50% from the field, 42% from 3, and 87% from the line. He was also an all-star in the 2024 season as well, and he hasn't been the best player from that 2015 draft in which he was the number 1 overall pick. That would go to Devin Booker, but he's definitely been the second best player and has been a good number 1 overall pick in the 21st century. It's crazy that Giannis Antetokounmpo is 29 and he's not the best 29-year-old in the NBA, because I gotta go with Nikola Jokic, who's also 29. I know, right? It's a tough decision, but I gotta go with the player that just won the MVP award in Nikola Jokic. He just picked up his 3rd MVP award and just had his 4th straight year finishing top 2 in MVP voting. All NBA first team, 26.5 points, 9 assists a night for a center, 12.5 rebounds, and shot 58% from the field and 36% from 3. He almost single-handedly beat Team USA for Serbia in the Olympics this year and helped Serbia win a bronze medal. That's a tough one though between Giannis and Jokic, because you could go with Giannis's defense, but I'm gonna go with Jokic's offense. The best 30-year-old is the player that beat out Nikola Jokic in the 2023 MVP voting, and that's Joel Embiid. Embiid, like Jokic, was in that 2014 draft class. He was the 3rd overall pick by the Philadelphia 76ers. Last year in an injury-riddled season, Embiid still put up 34.5 points, 11 rebounds, and 5.5 assists, and probably would have won MVP for the 2nd straight year if he stayed healthy, but won the scoring title in 2022 and 2023. He averaged 33 points in his MVP season and was basically playing against the Knicks on one knee and with one eye, and in those 6 games still put up 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists a night. And when Joel Embiid is healthy, he's a top 5 player in the NBA in my opinion. The best 31-year-old currently is Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers. AD just won a gold medal with Team USA in the Olympics and has been one of the best players in the NBA basically since his 3rd year in the NBA in 2015. But last year we finally got to see AD play over 70 games for the first time since 2018. He averaged 24.5 points, 12.5 rebounds, over a steal a night and 2 blocks a night, and shot 57% from the field. He was named all defensive first team, all NBA second team, was an all-star, and finished 4th in defensive player of the year voting. And when healthy, AD is one of the best big men in all basketball and one of the best two-way players in the league. AD was the best 31-year-old as the number 1 pick in the 2012 draft, while the best 32-year-old is the number 1 pick in the 2011 draft, Kyrie Irving. Kyrie's coming off a year where he was a number 2 option in Dallas with Luka Doncic, and he put up 25.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. He was 0.03% away from having a 50-40-90 season. He shot 49.7% from the field, 41% from 3, and 91% from the line. He was fantastic against the LA Clippers in round number 1. He was fantastic against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the conference finals. A little inconsistent against OKC and Boston, but Kyrie is as good as a number 2 option as you can get in the NBA and is the best 32-year-old currently. The best 33-year-old is a player that lost to Kyrie Irving in round number 1, and that's Kawhi Leonard of the Los Angeles Clippers, also in the 2011 draft with Kyrie Irving. We all know that Kawhi is a 2-time Finals MVP. Like Anthony Davis, he did have his most healthy season in quite some time since 2017. Kawhi last year in 68 games played 34 minutes a night, shot 53% from the field, 42% from 3, and 89% from the line. One of the more efficient forwards in the NBA. He averaged 24 points, 6 rebounds, and a steal and a half a night. He was an all-star on All-NBA second team, and when he is healthy, is still one of the best players in all of basketball. I haven't had this tough a debate since the 27-year-old debate between Brown, Mitchell, and Booker. So for the best 34-year-old, you could go with Paul George, who just signed a max contract with the 76ers. You could go with Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat. I'm gonna go with Damian Lillard. All three of these guys were in different draft classes, with Paul George being in 2010, only guy left remaining from that draft class. Jimmy Butler from 2011, the last pick of the first round in that class. But I'm gonna go with Damian Lillard, who was a little bit older, coming out of Weber State in that 2012 draft. Dame last year in his first year in Milwaukee put up 24 points, 7 assists, and 4.5 rebounds, and that was a down year for Dame, but he was still an all-star. And out of these three going into next year, I do think that Damian Lillard will have the best year out of these three 34-year-olds. That's another tough debate as well. Let me know in the comments. Paul George, Jimmy Butler, Damian Lillard. Best 35-year-old is an easy one. He just won his 4th gold medal, and that's Kevin Durant. KD just came off year number 16, playing 75 games for the Phoenix Suns, and averaged 27 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 5 assists on insane efficiency. 52% from the field, 41% from 3, 86% from the line. He finished 9th in MVP voting. He was an all-star and on All-NBA second team. And when he was healthy for Team USA, was arguably the best player at times on that roster, and he's the best 35-year-old. It's crazy that Kevin Durant is 35 now. Another gold medal winner this summer, Steph Curry, is the best 36-year-old. KD was actually the 2nd overall pick in 2007. Curry, a year older than KD, was the 7th overall pick in 2009, because Curry did spend 3 years at Davidson before entering the NBA draft. And last year, Steph won the Clutch Player of the Year award, was on All-NBA third team, was an all-star, averaged 26.5 points, 5 assists, 4.5 rebounds a night, and shot 41% from 3 on 12 attempts a night, and just had one of the greatest performances in Olympic basketball history in the gold medal game against France, hitting some insane threes to win USA the gold. So we've talked about some studs in this video. Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic. The best 37-year-old in the NBA was the 5th overall pick in the 2007 NBA draft. He was in the Ray Allen to Boston trade, and that's Jeff Green. Yeah, not a lot of competition for the best 37-year-old currently, and Jeff Green, in my opinion, is the best one. He averaged 6.5 points last year and 2 rebounds for the Houston Rockets and shot 45% from the field. And Green actually turns 38 in like 2 weeks, so it's probably gonna be Wesley Matthews as the best 37-year-old. The best 38-year-old is between 2 players. You could go with Kyle Lowry of the Philadelphia 76ers, but I'm gonna opt for a player that just won an NBA title with the Boston Celtics that played meaningful minutes for them, and that's Al Horford. Al Horford has had a really good career. In 17 years, he's a 5-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA member, 1-time All-Defensive Team member, and like I said, won a championship with Boston in 2024. He averaged 8.5 points and 6.5 rebounds last year for the Celtics and shot 42% from 3, and even had a conference finals stat line of 13 points and 7 rebounds on 46% shooting. Al Horford was a real contributor as a 38-year-old. I'd love to give Chris Paul his flowers for being the best 39-year-old in the NBA, but you gotta go with the GOAT himself, LeBron James. Yeah, LeBron James is gonna be the best 40-year-old in the NBA in December. That is just insane to think about. Someone who's gonna be 40 years old and is still gonna be a top 15 player in the league. LeBron, throughout the course of the Olympics, was the best player on Team USA. As a 39-year-old, LeBron last year averaged 25.5 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists a night, and shot 54% from the field and 41% from 3. He was an All-NBA third team member and an All-Star as a 39-year-old. We're never gonna see anything like this again. So I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. Drop a thumbs up if you guys did enjoy. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.